not talking about sickness here because of verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. My strength is made perfect in weakness. It means the weakness there is without strength. It's not sickness. It's without strength. It's used for sickness, but in this context, he is not referring to sickness. It's used for handicap, inability, something you couldn't do without strength. So if he says in Hebrews chapter 4 verse 15, we have a high priest who can be touched by our weakness, it means he has experienced the handicap. He has experienced that weakness, the high priest. In all points tempted. The word tempted is the word tested. Perazo in the Greek, used for testing, to prove. And he says, yet without sin. In other words, you cannot be tested until you are a man. In other words, Jesus' temptation proved that he was a man. If he couldn't be tempted, then he is not a man. His humanity was tested. That is, he had to be seen as having similar infirmities, similar handicaps, similar weaknesses with us. He has to be seen as having them just like we are. And like I said, that infirmity is not sickness, like we just saw in the scriptures there. Look at James chapter 1 verse 13. Let's examine the way Brother James exposes the complexity of temptation. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man. Neither tempted he any man. Please pay attention. It exposes the complexity of temptation. That means deity cannot be tempted. Deity cannot be tempted. So for you to be tempted means you are a man, because deity cannot be tempted with evil or sin. Now let me ask you a simple question. Did Jesus have the capacity to sin? Huh? Yes, he did. All right. That's why what he did is not called programming. What he did is called obedience. Because if he overcame temptation by programming, he will not be a man. It will be he was a robot. But he was tested and he obeyed. He obeyed. Obedience there means an act of his will. All right, now he wasn't programmed. James 1:14, but every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed, drawn away. Notice the word drawn away of his own lust. Look at verse 15. You will love this. Then when lust had conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. The word conceived, the word used here is the word for conception, where a seed is planted and it's allowed to grow. That shows that James chapter 1 confirms you cannot be tempted if you're not a man. For you to be tempted, you have to be a man. Jesus was touched with the same infirmity as we have. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. There had no temptation taking you but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. That you may be able to bear it. So temptation is common to man. Jesus had to be real. If they are not real, it means the scriptures lied to us. Jesus is fully a man, spirit, soul, and body. We call Jesus the second Adam. Now notice that infirmity Did it come from the first Adam? This infirmity we're dealing with here. Because we want to settle this issue of infirmity. That infirmity that Jesus had, similar to us, did that infirmity originate from the first Adam? Yes? Okay. Keep it somewhere. Did God make the first Adam with infirmity? Eh? Did God make the first Adam with infirmity? You said yes. You said no. Okay. Then what will be that infirmity? What will be that infirmity? Remember, we say it's not sickness, it's handicap, it's an inability. Okay. So what will be that inability exactly? Okay, keep it somewhere. Let's proceed a little. Was Adam a man? First Adam. He could be tempted? First Adam. Was that weakness on the part of Adam that he could be tempted? Was that a weakness? Does it mean God made him weak? Okay. What if Adam could not be tempted? Then he's not a man. So if he is in the likeness of sinful flesh, and sinful flesh involves spirit, soul, and body, that means on the cross, Jesus' body became mortal. The moment he became sin, his body became mortal. Mortal means dieable. Immortal means cannot die. Okay, so the body of Jesus became mortal on the cross. On the cross, Jesus died, spirit, soul, and body. On the cross. All right, spirit, soul, and many people get fussy with that because they are not paying attention to details. Look at Luke 22:46. And he said unto them, why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest you enter into temptation. Remember, the death of Jesus was not extinction. He was not extinct. The death of Jesus was separation. When Jesus was separated from himself, or Jesus separated from the Father, that separation was death. Just like Adam was separated from God by the choice not to heed the gospel. So Jesus too was separated so he can identify with Adam, spirit, soul, and body to procure redemption for man. Is full identification. Spirit, soul, and body. He didn't identify with us partially. He identified with us completely. Spirit, soul, and body. Is total identification. That's what makes the gospel too powerful. Is total identification. Now, observe. 1 Peter 2:23. Who, when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. Committed himself. Committed himself. I commit myself to you. What does that involve? If I say I commit myself to you, what does it involve? Spirit? If I commit myself to you, am I committing my physical body, or my soul, or my spirit, soul, and body? Myself. I didn't say I commit my physical body. I commit myself, meaning my spirit, soul, and body. So Jesus committed himself to death. Okay? To death. Now, please hold on. That same Matthew 27, look at 46. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Luke's account said, unto you I commit my spirit. Why did Jesus commit his spirit? What was the purpose? To be judged. Father, into your hands I commit my spirit, to be judged. That's why 1 Timothy says justified in the spirit, because he committed his spirit for judgment, and the judgment justified him. And in his justification is my justification.